In Indian spirituality, there's a really interesting link between thought and form. Essentially, the idea is that our thoughts, in other words, the very things that we think, can essentially manifest in reality without action, simply by existing. The thoughts can manifest in some form or another, and this would be in the physical world. One of the best ways to illustrate what this means is a saying from, I believe it's pronounced the Dhammapada. It's a Buddhist text filled with Buddhist aphorisms purportedly by the Buddha. And he talks about how a misdirected thought, a thought of anger or spite towards someone, can essentially bring harm to that person, even if you yourself have never brought harm. That's even a notion that you can even find in Christianity, specifically the idea of keeping our thoughts pure, because as soon as you, so the example would be, as soon as you've lusted after someone, you've essentially sinned against them. And so it's the same kind of idea, this idea that that our thoughts can become reality in very sophisticated and unexpected ways. Now, and there are many other illustrations of this idea, but one of the ideas that I take away from this idea is that my thoughts have meaning outside of my actions. The very existence of my thoughts entails some kind of reality. So the way that it could be described is there's this thought space, and the thoughts are zooming around and existing, but they're essentially becoming reality, and it basically puts a lot of emphasis on what thoughts are. And so if there's this link between thought and form, it makes me want to be more cognizant of what I'm thinking, because whenever I'm thinking negatively about someone or thinking negatively about something, I want to change that and challenge that to do better. Now, I don't want this to be a talk on ethics. I don't want this to be a talk on what we should do on the normative, but I think at the very least there's a very interesting metaphysical claim that can be deduced from all of this, and that is this idea that our thoughts have power, our thoughts have weight, and our thoughts have meaning. There's plenty of people that would believe that there's only mental causality rather than this metaphysical system that the spiritualists are promoting. So that would mean that essentially we do an action, and we do that action because we have thoughts. But there's no way that the thoughts could become reality itself without us acting. And while I think this is an interesting approach and it seems more practical and commonsensical, I think that it undermines the power of thought itself and the power of what thinking can do. Considering that I just came out with a book called In Defense of the Mind, which defends the mind against boring and dangerous theories like materialism and determinism, you can see why I would like this idea, because it really establishes and reestablishes the link between thought and form. So next time you're thinking about something that could have negative repercussions if it ever became reality, it might just be something to be aware of. Again, I don't want this to be an ethical talk, but just to never underestimate what you're thinking, to never underestimate what is going on in your mind, even if there's a lot going on at once. This is Phoenix, and thanks.